A very good morning, one and all. On behalf of Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust and Pune Business School, I, Ketan Pawar, would like to extend a warm welcome and hearty welcome to one and all. Give me this opportunity to introduce Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust and Pune Business School. Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust was established in the year 1990 by the renowned philanthropist and social activist late Shri S.B. Patil with a mission to serve the society. In a relatively short span of time, PCT has expanded 8 institutions offering 11 diverse academic programs at school, diploma, bachelor, master's, and at PhD level. Pune Business School under the Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust is an upcoming institute in academia, research, and management with a distinctive learning style and a global vision. Along with its strategic location in Pune, it is famous for its art campus facilities and rich experienced faculty. We at PBS have come up with a masterclass series where we'll be interacting with leading corporate personalities across various domains from corporate India, who will guide, motivate, and assist us to overcome various challenges of the corporate world. Today, masterclass will be conducted by our guest Trupti Zadav on 7 C's of business communication. Give me another opportunity to introduce ma'am. Trupti Zadav is a computer science graduate from Morris County College, USA. She is an adjunct educationalist who is associated with Pune's Premier Management Institute as a soft skill and communication trainer. She is also a blogger for a renowned website like Flipkart and Amazon. She owns and runs TJ's Orators Club, an initiative to give public speaking skills to kids. In addition to this, she is a content writer and a sales head for business industry reports. Apart from being a corporate trainer, motivational speaker, she is also a dedicated counselor and conducts therapy sessions. Lot many things, ma'am. Before we begin the session, I'd like to request all aspirants and participants to type the questions in the comment section, which would be answered after the session. Now, I request ma'am to take the charge and begin the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Ketan. Thank you for the warm welcome. And thank you for your warm introduction as well.
Yeah, ma'am.
Again, a pleasure. Again, thank you for this very far-reaching initiative that you all, under the guidance of my mentor, Dr. Ganesh Rao sir, you've undertaken this, and I'm sure it is going to have a lot of benefit to a lot of people in a lot of various corners of India and probably the globe also. So COVID did teach us a lot of things today because of COVID, we are so much online. We've become so technological savvy that we can reach out to people who probably might have not been able to attend a masterclass series on a one-on-one basis. So we've made the most of it, and I can see that you guys have really taken a great step, huge initiative for this masterclass series, and with no charge at all to all of those people who are out there and who can hear stalwart speakers. I mean, I am one among them, but I can see dignitaries and big people coming over here, very knowledgeable people, star people who are a part of your series. So thank you once again for this great initiative that I would say. Yes, and I will begin my session.
Yes, sure.
So I've been talking about communication skills with all of y'all. Why effective communication is very, very important. In fact, my first series was why communicate at all. So communication is a huge. There's so many things to communication. One of the aspects that I covered in my first series was about public speaking. So public speaking, in short, means to address public, to be able to talk to them. That is what I spoke on the first topic. First day, I really stressed upon why public speaking and how public speaking. So I had made this quote, and I quote again for a lot of you who might be new here, that 70% of your financial success is because of your communication skills, your personality, your negotiation skills, your leadership qualities, your attitude. And shockingly, only 15% because of your technical skills. I again repeat, 70% of your financial, 75% of your financial success is, sorry, 85% of your financial success is because of your communication skills, your negotiation skills, your transaction skills, your attitude, your personality, and shockingly, only 15% because of your technical skills. All throughout our schooling days, especially in the system that we have in India, we lay a lot of stress on technical skills, which are also important, laying a lot of stress on math and science. But unfortunately, we do not show as much importance to the most important concept, the most important thing, that is to be able to communicate. What is the use of all that knowledge you have within you if you're not able to express it, if you're not able to articulate it? Once again, I would like to tell you all of my students out there to please note down words that you are not familiar with. And this does not apply only to me, even to all of the other speakers who come and address you. You learn a lot from these series and make the most of it. So it's very important that you make down notes, you copy down quotes that somebody has told you, something that has inspired you, some new words that you come across, and make it a habit to use them. It's very, very important to use what you said, to use what you heard, to actually bring something in practice of what you were motivated by, inspired by, because all of these people are very, very inspirational. As I keep telling, we teachers are made by the students you are. The love that you give us, we reciprocate it. I mean, I am very fortunate to be, I've always made a resolution to be a very empathetic faculty to all of my students out there. And I always have respected all of you all from whichever walk of life you've come. And I've been very fortunate that I've been returned with this respect back. So, I have been returned with huge amount of love and respect from all of you all of my students. As Ketan rightly said, I've been an academician for more than 10 years now, and have been teaching business communication skills for a long period of time, being my core subject. So taking this further, this is what I've been trying to tell you, that communication is extremely important to be able to voice yourself, to voice out, to showcase your talents, to show what you are to the world. Otherwise, all of this is going to be remain unwrapped, all inside you, blocked inside you, and you will not know what to do with these talents if you're not able to address people, if you do not have that kind of confidence, if you do not have that kind of negotiation skills and that kind of personality. So why effective communication is necessary? I will not be showing slide share, because what happens is I think many of my students told me that I'm not that impactful when the slide is shared to you. So I'm going to be referring to my pointers over here and talking about it. So many a times, 70% of the times, if I'm not wrong, there is a survey done, our communication is misinterpreted. So it is not understood properly, misinterpreted. It's distorted. You would have said something and it is completely understood otherwise by someone else who's listening. It could be disliked and sometimes not even understood. Not understood because of the language barrier, because of the cultural barrier. So these are few aspects that you have to continuously keep in mind, that you have to be able to talk to somebody in a way that it is understood and interpreted well. It is decoded well, and hence the proper usage, proper way of expression, your body language supporting what you're trying to say in the medium that it is completely understood by the audiences out there is very, very important. Communication happens only when what you say is understood, comprehended, and a dialogue initiated with the front person. Only then the entire cycle of communication happens. And it is very important in a country like us, wherein we come from different backgrounds, different cities, different cultures, especially in India. It plays a very important role how effective you are in what you are trying to tell to the audience. Okay. Also, you need to understand that people are very different culturally. Something that means nice to you may mean not so good to the other person. Why do going many of the Arab countries, handshake is a complete no-no. It's a complete taboo over there. Why go so far in India itself? There are so many different perspectives of people. Something can be completely misunderstood. One word, the way it is said, in PK, in the movie PK, acha is a word which can be used in different ways. So when you're angry, acha, 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 so many things. So it is the way you say a word, the tone of voice you use, that is very important. Many times, 90% of the times, arguments happen because of the tone of your voice, and only 10% because of the subject content. The moment your tone is not right, the front person is not willing to hear you. You can say a most grave subject in a flat voice, flat in the sense, not a high pitched voice wherein all of your emotions are playing. And there will not be any argument whatsoever. But the moment you say something in a harsh way, not in a harsh tone, it can lead to argument. So 90% of the times, students out there, remember, 90% of the times arguments happen not because of the subject on what you are arguing, but because of the tone of your voice. So be very careful as to how are you talking to somebody, what kind of a tone are you using. Be polite at all times whenever you're addressing, even if you're trying to say the most sensitive thing, even if you're trying to say something which has really irked you, maybe you're just not happy with something, yet there is a way that you need to articulate this, especially in the marketing field, in the sales field. Please, in every other field, your customer is your God. However high-handed your customer is, you cannot lose your temperament. You have to have a cool temperament. You have to be in a position to comprehend. You have to be a good listener, understand where the customer is coming from, and never lose your cool. That is your biggest test as to how you are going to attend to your customers. Okay. So that's the first point, why effective communication is so important to all of us. Remember, words mean the different things to different people. Like the word that I used, acha. So how just like how it has been said in PK. One second, I'm just using my pointers here. Words mean different things to different people. Something that in different parts of the country. So what did PK say? It is not only what आपको सिर्फ उनके words पे ध्यान नहीं देना होता है. You have to also look at their expression, the way they are saying it, as the word अच्छा is said. So बड़े आंखें हैं तो it is a surprise. अगर गुस्सा है तो अच्छा इस तरीके से तुम behave करते हो, उस तरीके से है. So not only do you attend to somebody with what he is trying to say, but you have to watch how, in what manner the person is trying to say, to really comprehend what the person is trying to say. Same thing applies to you. Your body language, your smile, your facial expressions have to match what you're trying to say. You are trying. If you do not have a smile, it doesn't show you're really connecting with the audience. If you do not smile, if you do not have humor, if you do not laugh, if your body language is showing that you're tense, what you're trying to tell the public is never understood. So that is very, very important. Then the initiation of a message provides no assurance it has been received. आपने कुछ बोला है, उसका कोई assurance नहीं उसने receive किया है. And that is why you have to go to their level and try to say things that it is understood, and always take a feedback as to whether you've understood. When I'm in an actual class, I keep asking my students, am I understood? Would you want to give a gist? Would you want to summarize? Do you want a recap? Do you want me to reiterate, etc., etc., etc.? That's the only way you really know whether your audiences have understood what you're trying to say. Communication often becomes distorted as they are transmitted, and that's why you have to be very careful as to what you have many of y'all, when as being kids, have played the Japanese whisper. कोई कुछ बोलता है इस कान में, by the time it takes an entire circle, कुछ और ही निकल आता है. It is so humorous to watch, but it has so much of a underlying meaning to it. what you are trying to tell your subordinate, by the time it reaches, the entire thing could be distorted, entire thing could be misinterpreted. And hence, feedback at all levels is very, very important. Reiteration of what you have told them is very, very important to know if the right message has gone to the end of the loop also. So what you have to remember, and you can note it down, is what causes distortion or misinterpretation or barriers in communication. Please note it down. First is perception. How is a person going to perceive what you are trying to say is very, very important. So please keep that in mind. First point is perception. Second is the language that you're using. You have to talk in a language that is understood. Now, if I'm going to go to a rural area, and if I'm going to address the crowd over there, and if I'm going to talk in English, what is the use of it? I mean, are they even going to understand? They at the most might say, English, but nothing more than that, and they are going to lose the entire meaning of it. And that's why I keep asking, is my language comfortable? So in the comment section, please let me know what are your suggestions. I can always make my talk thoda bahut Hindi or thoda bahut Marathi, Hindi probably, क्योंकि काफी जगहों से लोग अटेंड करते हैं मास्टर क्लास सीरीज को. तो अगर आपको थोड़ी सी दिक्कत होती है समझने में, आप मुझे बेझिझक बोल सकते हो कि आप balance it out with Hindi and English. So language is very, very important, especially in a country of our type, which has so much of flavor. Then it's semantics. Then it is the personal interest. How much is the audience interested? For example, if you are addressing, if I'm talking to parents, if I'm talking to the youth there, and if I start talking about parental issues or parental behavior or kids behavior, it'll be lost on you because it is not of any interest to you. Then emotions, understand the emotions, understand the mood of the audience, inflections, environmental noise, what is happening around, preconceived notions or expectations. There could be people who come with a preconceived idea. They could be prejudiced. They could be judgmental. Always, when you address somebody, have a smile on your face because that's the first connect that you have with your audience, which is very, very important. Your physical appearance is what the audience sees first. And that is why you have to be prepared with a smile, with being down to earth, being humble at all times. They say the most powerful leader is at the same time extremely humble. The biggest example is Sir Abdul Kalam, Sir Ratan Tata, extremely humble and down to earth in their behaviors, and that is what makes them so big. So it says a diamond does not need to prove itself. A stone, however you show it as a diamond, will remain a stone. So just understand that. Be humble at all times. Be kind. That is something that really speaks volumes. You don't have to do anything. Kindness, being humble, being grounded, being down to earth, very, very much needed skill sets that you should have in today's world. Also understand what is the attention span of the audience. Now, this is a very, very important aspect. I'm going to take a couple of minutes to explain this. Engaging the audience is extremely important in today's world. How do you engage an audience? Now, audiences are different, as I keep telling you again and again, maybe in my last class also probably. When you've had a tough day, when you have been a very tiring day, now you're at home and you want to just unwind yourself. Many a times I read a book if I have the time, or just watch something on TV. And I'm willing to give that kind of time, especially if you want to read a book. I choose a fat volume. One of my most favorite authors is Robin Cook. I've been awe-inspired by his writing. I've been thrilled by his writing, the way he writes. He writes on medical fiction. So I lie down with a book in my hand, maybe a nice hot cup of chocolate milk, or maybe a hot cup of green tea, one of my most favorites. And I'm there lying down to read that book. I'm prepared to read that book. But the next day when I'm at work and I'm going through my emails, Do you think I will have that kind of a mind frame or that kind of a time frame to read something as big as a fat volume of a novel? So absolutely no. When I am on my job, when I'm checking my emails, I need to have the idea within a few words. So, an ideal email cannot exceed 50 words. And in fact, in the first 10, 15 words itself, you have to very well give an idea what the email is all about, especially in the sales and the marketing areas where you want to engage the audience. Now, social media is again a different ballgame because even shorter span. So when you're writing something on Facebook, when you're writing something on LinkedIn, you have to see that you have to make an impression. You have to strike a connect in the first 15 to 20 words. If you have got the audience's attention within those 15 words, the person will read it further. Otherwise, there is nobody is going to click on your more if you have not interested them within those few seconds. So this is what is called attention span of an audience, engaging an audience, understanding an audience. Going further, next time I will speak about understanding an audience in more depth, understanding the demography and the psychography of an audience. So I will be going there. But right now, you just need to understand how and what your audience is made up of and what is their attention span going to be. And then if there is a physical hearing problem and also the speed of your thought, many a times you are so involved that you're thinking so fast and your words are not matching it. This disconnect should not be there. So your thought process and your expression should be in tandem, should be balanced. Now, so that's why it is important how to overcome barriers. What are some of the pointers for barriers of communication? Now I'm moving on to how to improve the existing level of communication. Okay. Also, I need to keep a tab on the time. Yeah. So improve your language and your pronunciation. Very important aspect is the hold on your language. If you have a very strong hold on your language, there is never a time that you're going to grope for words. You're going to be uncomfortable with words. You're going to falter with words, which is very, very important. Communication is saying the most negative of things in the most positive of ways. You should be so comfortable that even if you completely blank out, there should be something that you can still say, by the time to say something. This happens only if you have a very strong hold on your language skills. And I keep saying English is a business language. It's a globally accepted language, but it does not mean that if you know English, you communicate well. No, it's not that at all. Please understand this. You can be superior in your mother tongue and be very proud of it, then your English can be functional. So what I'm trying to say here is you have to have a very strong hold on one language and then all other languages can be functional. Working in India, you have to be proficient in your mother tongue, English, Hindi. At least 3 minimum languages you have to know, and then maybe you should get introduced to the local dialect of the place that you're going to be working in. If you go abroad, many of the European countries do not even know English. You will be very surprised to know the Japanese. So as in my introduction, they said that I head the business industry team. I used to do it. I am not with them anymore because of my other commitments that I'm doing today, especially me getting connected with my students. But whenever we used to have these calls from Japan and China, they know nothing about English at all. And these are developed. Japan is one of the most developed countries. Same is with Korea. They do not know English at all. They're so into themselves that they don't need English. So when you go to these countries, you should probably know their dialect. Germans do not know it. Many parts of Europe also do not know it. So you try and understand which is the most popularly used language, English, and which is the next. Try and find out. This is my question to you. I do not want to give you a ready answer over here. Is it Spanish? Is it Chinese? Which are the most popular languages? Try and find out. So what I'm trying to say is be well versed with different languages also, but have a superior control on one language, which is very, very important. Okay, so improve your language, understand how pronunciations are done. I'm not talking about accent here. All of us will have some particular accent. just like the Americans have their accent and they're so proud of it. Also, I have seen many of us trying to ape their accent, which is not needed. Yes, if you've lived in the US for a long period of time, if you've studied there, you do pick up that. So I was there, I studied there. So some of my words might be influenced by the American English and not the British English, though we have learned British English throughout our school days. But do not ape someone's accent just for the heck of, aping the West. Please don't do that. Be proud of your accent. But having said that, I would still say speak English in a way that it is neutralized. And that is why there are so many training sessions where they do neutralization of your accent. Do not have a very strongly pronounced accent. Even we Maharashtrians have we'll say bus for bus. So we kind of have a slight pull to the word. Similarly, the Kannadigas, the people from Karnataka also have it. The South Indians would have it. We have different accents. Yes, thoda bahut to wo nazar aayega and be proud of it. But otherwise, have a neutral accent. Then work on your voice modulation, very important. Anytime you address somebody, if you have humor in it, have that humorous tone to it. If you have emotions in it, be emotional about it. Have the proper pitch of your sound, voice, जहाँ पे जो जिसकी जरूरत है उस टाइप की voice modulation very important. So if you want to lay stress on something, you can even reduce your voice little. When you want to address a large audience, be powerful in your words. Have that quality of your voice which can be heard, the teacher voice that they call. If you've seen Modi ji when he speaks, such a powerful way of addressing the audience, that is also needed. So have the right pitch and have the right type of voice modulation. Work on your body language, have the eye contact. But if you're a beginner, I would advise, do not look into the people's eyes. You can look at the back of the wall over there so people feel that you're looking at them. Because what happens is, suppose you're very new to public speaking, and if you look at somebody into their eyes, and if there is some emotion that's happening on that person's face, and if he does not reflect something that you are looking for from that person, you could be a little discouraged. तो वो डर रहता है और आप फिर थोड़ा सा falter कर सकोगे, थोड़ा आप nervous हो सकोगे. So be careful about that. But otherwise, eye contact is absolutely necessary. Hand, body language, as I keep telling you, keep your hands open to your shoulder level, to your waist level. So you have your hands open to talk about. When you're talking about pointers, put it like this, and then you can talk about it and this way and that way. And when you're talking on the stage, use the entire space that is given to you so that you address the audience on your extreme left and your extreme right, and the people here in front of you and at the back too. So when I generally have a collar mic so that I access everybody. I even go to my last row over there, the balcony seats over there, because I know the backbenchers have the most imaginative mind. This comes to college level, but even when I'm addressing a huge gathering of very educated and high profile people, even then I try and reach out to everybody over there. So that is what is body language. Also be toned down, be humble, have a smile, so that people connect to you and they don't feel that there is arrogance in the way you're addressing them. Read more and listen more. When you talk, you say something that you already know. When you listen, you learn something new. So always listen, be aware of what is around you. Read a lot. Read so much that you have a huge knowledge bank kept behind you in your brain. You can keep on bringing it again and again ahead. Like how a cow chews on her food, even if she's gulped down her food. So when you accumulate knowledge, accumulate it, gulp it down voraciously, hungrily, and then please bring it all the time back, whenever you want to get it into usage or into practice. Then avoid reading or watching or listening unwanted literature, gossip, media. Keep away from gossips. This is what I do when I train people for SIPs, for summer internship programs, or for when they are on the threshold of entering the corporate world. Keep away from gossip. It doesn't help at all. You could, till you do not get accustomed to the new culture over there or the new policies over there, the new people over there, you can be a little quiet and be more of a listener and be more of a observant person than, blabbering and talking things that would show you into a wrong light. Interact with qualitative people. So I always say that, friendships should add value to you. Whenever you meet somebody, I look, I look into someone when someone value adds. I really, really like that that conversation, and I might feel a little bored if it is a similar and a mundane type of conversation that happens. Same as with everyone else. So what can you value add is very important. That's why you need to be a very good reader, a voracious reader, so you can add a knowledge to people's thought processes. Friendships are of various types. Some of them are there for the reason, and the moment the reason stops, the friendship also stops. And that's why you create your reason. If you value add, if you create interest, if you inspire people, if you motivate people, there is the reason always remains there. So there are a lot of reasons. For example, two moms might be close to each other because of their tiny toddlers who go to the same pre-primary school. But the moment the school changes, the moms may not remain friends. Same as the world out there in the corporate world, wherein you make friendships for a reason, and the reason goes, and friendship also goes. So always remember to value add to people's lives. Practice good thoughts, meditation, have positive attitude, have positive thinking. Always think good about what is going around. Don't have negative thoughts, because this is not a motivational session, and yet I would like to tell you, when you think negative about somebody, that negative thought may not reach that person, but it might change something within you. Please remember this. अगर कोई आप, if you keep, अगर आप किसी negative thought को harness करते हो, आपके पास रखते हो, तो वो नेगेटिव थॉट आपको जरूर अफेक्ट करेगा. वो दूसरे को नहीं अफेक्ट करेगा, लेकिन आपको जरूर अफेक्ट करेगा. इसीलिए दे से ऑल द टाइम बी पॉजिटिव. द मोर यू आर पॉजिटिव, द मोर यू अट्रैक्ट positive energies around you. Meditation also brings about positivity. So be that. Think and speak, and do not speak too fast. Use simple vocabulary. Yes, you can use powerful words, because they really sometimes form a very good impact. But otherwise, don't use too much of jargon. Jargon is too much of a language which is not understood by the layman. So please understand that the audience in front of you is always a mixture of different kinds of people. The very learned, the common people. So you have to balance out how you're going to speak to them, so that you bring both of them together at a par with you and take them along with you. Very, very important. Do not speak only to impress someone. Try to say, express to impress is one thing, yes, but also mean it. Walk the talk is very important. Walk the talk means what you say, you practice. Because if you don't do that, then people may listen to you one time, but they may not want to listen to you the next time, because they may find there is a gap between what you're preaching and what you're actually doing. So if you're there to motivate people, inspire people, to make a difference, if you are in the limelight, if you are the one people are looking up to, always remember you need to walk that talk. Look presentable and confident, which is very, very important. Very important is your presentation skills at all times. How you present yourself, what kind of an attitude you are. Presentation is not just your PPT presentations, but the way you present yourself is extremely important. Avoid barriers in communication. Send understandable messages to people. You're right. Okay. Utilize non-verbal signals. Different types of communication. Written, so it's verbal, non-verbal, written, and listening is also a major part of communication skills. If you are not listening properly, you will not answer properly, my dears. Only a good listener is a good teacher. So first is the verbal communication, that all happens with what you say, you speak, that is verbal communication. Written, all kinds of correspondence that go in the written. Verbal communication is very important when you are addressing people, lot of people. Yes, it is very, very important, but written is also extremely important to support your verbal communication. Written is absolutely important, especially in the corporate world and everywhere. When you get into the professional life, there is verbal communication does not have supporting truth or supporting facts. Written is the only way that you support something that you've said, or a discussion. It is always very important when you have an important meeting to have a summarization of the meeting, to have the minutes of the meeting. Extremely important. In fact, every meeting that I have, I always make it a point to summarize it, because I do not know how particular the front person is about written communication. So I make it a point to get the email and I say, dear sir, ma'am, it was wonderful interacting with you. It was nice meeting you today. Just so that we would like to summarize our today's discussion, and I put pointers 1, 2, 3, 4. Especially if there is any monetary discussion, there is a discussion of an appraisal, the discussion of facts about how you're going to be planning your future strategies, have to be pointed it down and summarized something in the form of a written way, so you have something to fall back, so you have something to discuss with somebody that yes, we discussed all of these points and this is the factual part of it. Hence, along with verbal communication, written is extremely important, because you have something to rely on later. Okay, कुछ भी हो, कोई भी contract हो, कोई भी discussion हो, always written does help you to come back to it later, to have something factual, something that is right there and is not gone into the thin air. Okay, the third type of communication, extremely important, is non-verbal. Lot of meaning is found in non-verbal communication. The way you stand, your postures, your gestures. The first impression comes from your non-verbal cues that you give. So be very, very, very agile. Be very aware as what kind of non-verbal stances are you giving to the front person. Okay. Yeah. So, and actively listen, as I told you. So that is the fourth most important part, is to be a very, very active listener. After all of this communication, always wait for an acknowledgement of what you express, and in a form of a feedback. Extremely important is to have a feedback, because you need to know whether the front person has understood, and whether the front person acknowledges that yes, this did happen in our meeting. So it's very important to have a monitored feedback, to have a feedback, and then initiating a dialogue or a communication. So some of the tips for body language, which I can very quickly go through, is keep appropriate distance with each other. Okay. When you shake hands, namaskar is the best way, actually. A very, very pronounced Indian way, a very warm way of meeting people. And, it gives so much, it shows so much of respect. So namaste for India is very, very accepted. In fact, globally, it has been accepted. But somewhere in India, we also use handshakes. I don't know. We like to ape the West, so we do it. So whenever you do a handshake, please remember that the handshake cannot be more than 4 seconds. 1, 2, in fact, 2 seconds. For a girl, if it's a different sex, 2 seconds is good enough, and it should be very, very firm. So 1 and 2. Do not prolong it. 1, 2, 3, 4 is maximum you can go to. Not beyond that. It should be very firm. It should not be slouched. It should not be, shaky, and the grip should be firm. So remember that at all times. So keep an appropriate distance, especially if you're talking to a lady at the opposite sex. Keep your eye contact. If you're talking to somebody, you have to have the eye contact. It's a must. It's a rule. If you're not talking to somebody, do not look at that person. That is called as staring. Okay. So remember these 2 points. Do not unnecessarily touch only when it is appropriate. Take care of your appearance. Do not look shabby, and do not look, it gives a very casual attitude. If you have not dressed appropriately for a meeting, it shows that you are casual about it. You know how you stand. Do not put your hands in your pocket and stand. It gives a casual attitude. Stand with your hands open to your waist, and stand straight. Have an eye contact when you're talking to somebody. All these are very, very important factors. Do not give false cues. Maintain an eye contact and smile genuinely. And be humble and down to earth. Be knowledgeable. Express when called for. Do not barge into someone's topic. listen to what the front person is saying. Now, because this is a live talk, I have to talk so much. Others, I would have loved to hear your views. I wait to hear your views because I also learn at the same time as you. Yes, I have something to share, but I love to hear what you have to share too. So that's something that I have always looked forward. But since this is a live talk, I have to talk so much. Would love to meet you somewhere, sometime where a lot of interaction sessions can happen with you. Yes, that's my dream, and I hope that is fulfilled. So that's few of the tips that I told about body language, and keep that in mind. Problems, problem oriented and not person oriented. When they say talk about the behavior, when I talk about, just to give a small example, I have also done this mistake with my kids. You're so lousy and you're so slouchy. The person doesn't become that. Address the behavior. I did not like this behavior of yours. I like you, but I did not like this behavior. It doesn't mean you cannot dislike the person for some little mistake that the person has done. Address them on their behavioral aspect. Address the problem at hand and do not address the person. Don't make the person feel down. Address what is the problem at hand. This kind of behavior, can we have can you just be a little bit more aware about this behavior? It doesn't show in a good light. You're a wonderful person, but these things should be taken care of. You could say something like that. So you don't make the person feel humiliated. You just talk about the behavioral problem. I don't like the way you dress is also okay. I like you very much, but sometimes the way you dress is not proper for the, is not appropriate, is some of the words that you can use. Be professional when you address certain things. Okay, so it is not the person you're attacking, it is the problem you're addressing. Always remember that. Always know what you're feeling and what you're talking. Do not have a mismatch of what you're feeling and what you're addressing. So many a times people are feeling something and they're talking something else. So understand, come to a conclusion as to what is it that you want to really address? What is it that you're feeling? What is it that the front person will be feeling? This is very important to strike a balance between someone's feeling and the expression. I'm disappointed that we didn't reach our target and that we aren't getting our bonuses. So this is just an example in this slide that has been given. So I like the way you've dedicated yourself. I know you're a dedicated person, but somehow this time you've not been able to reach the target. And that is what is concerning point of view. And this is what is concerning me and should concern you too. Hence, you need to take a retrace, a step back and understand why is it that your team is not reaching the target. This is how you would address a problem. Okay. It's now 11:45. I guess I will continue for another 2-3 minutes more, 5 minutes, and then we can take the question answer session. Avoid judgment at all times. It's very, very important. I keep saying you cannot judge a person unless and until you do not wear the shoes, you do not know where the shoe is biting. What you may be seeing is just the tip of the iceberg. Just the tip, you really do not know. You know what an iceberg is, right? A huge iceberg which floats in the oceans. What we see with our eye is just the tip. It's just 10%. What is below the sea level is 90%. Many times what a person is seen is just that 10%. We really do not know what is undergoing under his facade, what he's trying to show. There may be so many emotions, so many turmoil that a person is going through. So never judge anybody. We have absolutely no right to judge anybody because we really do not know where that person is coming from, what is his background, what his day has been, where he has come from. So try not to be judgmental at all times. Do not be prejudiced. Judgmental or prejudiced also means that somebody who is very simply dressed maybe does not mean that that person may not be intelligent. Like I always remember this talk by the great Sudha Murthy, who's a very inspirational figure herself. So when she was standing in the business class for an airline, when she was standing there, one of the foreigners in a queue came to her and said, Madam, perhaps you are in the wrong line and you might be belonging to the economy class. Such a misconstrued, such a wrongly judged expression. So wrong. I mean, such a great, versatile person as Sudha Murthy, such a reader, such a voracious reader and a writer and a speaker, was completely misjudged because she was dressed the way she was. She is a person who's completely comfortable with herself. She does not need to prove anything to anybody. So never judge. Never judge by somebody else's appearance. But yes, because we are new to something, if you are new to a profession, always judge as per the occasion. Sudha Murthy is a great person already. She doesn't need to prove. But we, at our stages here, if we have to prove ourselves, if we have to show ourselves in a good light, always dress as per the occasion. So if you're going for a party, dress accordingly. If you're going to a professional business meet, dress accordingly. Meeting of friends, dress accordingly. So there's always a dress code for every occasion, and try to understand that. Okay, always focus on the solution. What will be the solution? Instead of keeping on and on talking about the problem and what went wrong, what can be done further? So what if you have done a mistake? So what? We are humans and we are going to err. But learning from that mistake is what is important. Repeating a mistake again and again is a blunder. So mistakes, my math sir used to always say, mistakes can be tolerated, blunders cannot be. But yes, it is okay to do a mistake and learn from it. So what if you made a mistake? Grow over it, outlive it, change yourself, change your attitude. Whatever you did in the past is, if you keep on and on thinking about it, it's not going to change it. It has happened. No amount of thinking about the past is going to change it. No amount of worrying for the future is going to improve it. What is important is today, right now, and the efforts that you put now. And that is why today is called the present. And so it is a gift. Okay, with that, it's a beautiful verb. Today is the present, and that is why it is called a gift. It is a very important dialogue from the movie Kung Fu Panda. So with that note, I will stop my address, and I hope to see you all in my next masterclass series. Will be on the next Wednesday, and I'll continue to talk about effective communication skills. Don't miss it. Every time I say something that you feel was important, please make it a point to write down pointers so that you can always go back to it, bring them into practice, revisit the talk. My talk is live. You can go back to it. All of your suggestions are open here. I am here to make more of an impact, more of an impactful talk. All of your suggestions are open. And I hope you like my sessions, and do ask me your questions so we can have a question around right now. Yeah.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
So should we take some questions?
Sure.
One of the question is from Shreya. She is asking, I am too talkative. So how should I stop talking and start listening?
Okay. So Shreya, that's a very good question. And what I would really applaud you here is that you have understood. What is needed is to understand a problem. There is something that you want to work on. Being talkative is not a problem, my dear. That is not a negative point. But understanding that too much of talking is not good is the first step to success. So I would like to applaud you in understanding that you have realized that sometimes you get carried away, you talk a lot, but it is very important that you keep cognizance of your thought process. Be aware of every situation. हाँ मैंने ज़्यादा बोल लिया कल, ठीक है बोल लिया. कल जब मैं मेरे friends को मिलूंगी, I'll try to listen to them. See, a good listener has a lot of friends because everybody needs a sounding board in life. I have a lot of friends. I talk a lot, but I also listen to them. So when somebody is trying to say something, everybody in this world needs a sounding board. Everybody. Depression can be reduced just by listening to someone and being there for that person. It's okay. Just saying okay. Yeah, I hope you've got that answer. Just be aware, live in the moment, try to listen to others and be cognizant of your thought process. Am I talking too much? Let me take a step back. Yeah.
So next question is from Aniket. He is asking how to react if someone judges us.
Okay, so when somebody judges us, it is their thought process. Okay, you cannot do anything about it. उसने गलत सोच लिया, वो उसकी मुसीबत है. Always remember, you are here to change your own self. You cannot change the world. The only person you can change is your own self. Second thing is, people who judge have their own baggage. They are fighting their own battles, my dears. They are not actually very mean people. They are fighting their own baggage, their own past, and इसीलिए वो skeptical होते हैं, थोड़े से negative होते हैं, क्योंकि they have their own baggages, they have their own insecurities. So be patient, be a little kind, uh, understand why they could have done it, because for us what is important is to grow big, to be bigger than the rest of them, to be more kind, to be more sympathetic, more empathetic, and that is how you evolve. So somebody is judged, you try and understand why. Do not take it negatively, because a critical person, निंदकाचं घर शेजारी असावं, somebody who criticizes you has to be around you, so you learn from it. But grow over it. You can keep your filters, you keep your distances, don't be hampered. Okay, yeah.
I hope Aniket will get it. So next question is from our host, Ketan. He's asking you have written many of the books. So could you suggest us some books that can impact on my life?
Okay, now you have to understand what kind of a reader are you, what kind of an audience are you. Like I am the thriller, mystery, fiction type of a person, so I love to read those books. Now what I'm trying to tell here is, yes, it is important to read magazines and articles, लेकिन to improve your language, you have to read a book that you don't feel like keeping down. Okay, Ketan? तो अगर आपको बहुत ज्यादा किस चीज में इंटरेस्ट है वो आप आइडेंटिफाई करो. आपको चेतन भगत सर टाइप ऑफ बुक्स अच्छे लगते हैं, या मेडिकल फिक्शन आपको अच्छा लगता है. सो अगर मेडिकल फिक्शन है तो रॉबिन कुक. इफ यू लाइक सिंबल्स एंड इफ यू लाइक अबाउट रिलीजियस माइथोलॉजी, then Dan Brown. There are a lot of Indian authors too, huge of them. I am so sorry, I'm not recommending one of them, not because I have don't like it. I myself come from a huge person, a great writer, the Padma Shri winner Ranjit Desai, who wrote Shriman Yogi and Swami and all, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and Baddal Leela Tani. So I come from his line. But if you like medical fiction, one thing. If you are a beginner, Enid Blyton is also a wonderful author. Agatha Christie is a wonderful author. These are authors who have very strong hold on their language. Every time I read Robin Cook, I find 10 to 15 new words. So you see how powerful his language is. And Ketan, next time you meet me, do tell me which type of a book you picked up to read. Okay.
I hope
Yeah.
he will.
Yeah.
So next question is from Rohit. He's asking, how can we engage our clients on our call with us?
Okay. So I can make next time I can talk about cold calling on warm calls and hot calls. There are 3 different types of calls. Okay. So when you make a cold call, that is like जैसे आपको सर मैं लाइफ इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से बात कर रही हूँ, and you say नहीं मुझे नहीं चाहिए, and you keep it down. Credit card call करे, you know how rude we are to them. I am not rude these days, so I just say not a good times, you can call me later. So cold calls are very difficult. But if you are sending a cold email, make sure that you make that person want to read your email. Otherwise, all of your emails just go and fall into the scam folder, the spam folder, wherein nothing is going to happen. So there is a way of doing it. It's a huge process, Rohit. It's a huge subject in itself. I can deal with it in my next class in more detail. But right now you need to understand, आप जिससे बात कर रहे हो वो किस बैकग्राउंड से आ रहा है, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बिफोर यू शेड्यूल द टॉक. It is very important to understand who your audience is, if at all you want that person to listen to you. I know I've not been able to, because it's a huge subject. I can get into the details of it the next time. Okay. I hope this kind of helps you for the initial stage now. Or you can ask Rohit if he has any other question, or will he want to wait? Okay. Yeah.
So next question is from Anirudh. He's asking what tools or action are appropriate to better link the education environment and the labor market.
Can you reiterate? He's talking about education and what?
Labor market.
So he's trying to say how can we educate the labor market, or what is he trying to say?
What actions are appropriate for the education to be given to education?
Okay. Understood. So in India, we are not giving importance to skills. If you see plumber, सबसे अगर कोई VVIP पर्सन है ना, सबसे ज्यादा बिजी जो है ना, तो इलेक्ट्रिशियंस है, प्लम्बर्स है, फैब्रिकेटर्स है. You see, so much need is there for skills. लेकिन India has gone in this kind of thinking. Let me just tell you in 2 minutes. This system of education was made by the British, wherein they taught us to be clerks and not leaders. Think about it, okay? It's a very profound statement. I'm giving you a food for thought. Think about it. They did not want us to be leaders in our own right. They wanted us to be very good clerks. And that is why India excels in math, and India excels in science, India excels in account, but not in leadership. Now we are changing. We are changing. This is the type of education system the British introduced. And somewhere down the line, our country continued with it. I can talk a huge lot, but I do not want to talk about any political party or any kind of thinking ideology. This is not the right space for me. But जिन्होंने ये books बनाए हैं, उनकी mindset बहुत ही अलग थी, and I do not think that they were very right in it. I can only say that. We do not love our history. We do not love our leaders. We do not know who are the Chalukyas and who are the Marathas and who are the Peshwas. Unfortunately, we do not know Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj at all. The guru, the management guru that he was. Coming back to your question, that is why when we see laborers, we have to introduce skills in them. We have to teach, educate them in a way that they are able to use it and not the bookish way. We have to teach them hands-on experiences. There are 3 types of learners. One is the audio learner, the visual learner, and the kinesthetic learner. The audio who learns by talking, by listening. Most of us are visual. हम देख के सीखते हैं. Geography has to be taught on maps and outside on the field, not through textbooks. Third is kinesthetic, who learn by experience. So laborers should be taught. I shouldn't be calling them laborers. I should be calling them the workforce of India, the very talented workforce. They have to be trained with skills, actual skills. कि electricians कैसे बनते हैं, automobile engineering सच में क्या है, mechanics क्या है. But we are not doing that. So this is how, if we change the system a little bit, there are a lot of NGOs and I am a part of Rotary and we do this. हम skill based learning सिखाते हैं. India is changing, and you students out there, a lot of onus is on you, Anirudh and Ketan and Rohit and all of you out there who need to make this difference to India, to take the masses with the classes and grow to a better and an evolved India. I hope that answers that question. Yeah.
Yes. Should we end the session or what we should?
Sure. So all of you out there, all of you who come and introduce me, who come and talk, I want all of you to read, okay? What is your name?
My name is Yash Bari.
So Yash, all of you all have a lot of knowledge, but somewhere I can see that थोड़े से आप shy हो. आप ही नहीं, सब आपके सब friends थोड़े nervous हो. So my first initiative is for you all to start reading. Every day read 2 hours, minimum 2 hours. And you see the change that will come in you. तो आपके पास बहुत ज़्यादा talents हैं, लेकिन आप nervous हो. So work on that, okay? Okay, Yash?
Yes, sure I will.
Yeah, okay. Thank you again for a wonderful session, and thank you for the organization team. Thank you, Yash. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you, Ketan, for so superbly managing it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
So
you.
I would like to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of Pimpri-Chinchwad Education Trust and Pune Business School. I, Yash Bari, and the entire fraternity of Pune Business School would like to sincerely thank the Almighty for making our today's event a grand success. By these blessings and grace, we were able to make the event a grand success. I would like to thank Dr. Ganesh Rao, the director of Pune Business School, and PBS staff for all efforts taken. It gives me immense pleasure to convey a heartfelt vote of thanks to our chief guest, Miss Trupti Jadhav, who took out the time from her busy schedule to grace the occasion. Ma'am, today we had the opportunity to hear your thoughts on this wonderful topic. I am sure it definitely encouraged us all of the future. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and shown us a new path of success. Thank you very much for being a part of our masterclass.
Thank you. And I will wait to see you next Wednesday, same time, I think. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So be with us. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
you.